Well, what's going on, everybody, and welcome. Today is July 3rd. It's 8 o'clock. I'm dragging ass today. I don't know what it is. I'm tired. I even had to take a nap throughout the day. I don't know. I had 3 cups of coffee, iced coffee, a smoothie, just trying to, I don't know. I don't think I slept enough. After all that excitement yesterday with our breaking news, right? We had a lot of people watching, and what's really surprising is not a lot of, if any, I don't know if any mainstream media actually reported on it, which is absurd because you would think that they would have, because yesterday with the cocaine found inside White House property, you would think that would be a big deal, specifically because of who the Bidens are and their history of using crack cocaine. You would think it would have been a big deal, but whatever. It is what it is. Mainstream media didn't cover it. We were there for you to bring you the real news, as always. One of the things I want to talk about today is this new migrant worker law that took place, or that started in Florida. And for anyone that doesn't follow our new Capacity Today transportation related news, you should, because I've been writing a lot on there. But anyway, I wrote an article about this protest that was supposed to take place Saturday, a trucker protest in Florida, where people, Latino workers were planning on protesting this new law that went into effect. It went into effect on Saturday, I believe, right? What is today? Monday, the 3rd, 2nd. Yeah, so it went into effect on Saturday. And Latino workers were going to protest this law because it essentially outlaws. Well, you know what it does? And this is the craziest thing. It makes it illegal to be in the state of Florida if you are illegally in the United States, essentially. I mean, let's be honest. That's what that means. And it's crazy to me that there's a controversy about this, right? If you're here illegally in the United States, you're here illegally. You're committing a crime, right? And this doesn't include people that come into the United States and then seek asylum and have a court hearing or that have a court date that's scheduled 2 years from now or whatever. This doesn't include those people because they are here legally at that point. This is the people that don't want to be caught, the people that snuck into the country, the people that got their court date but never showed up and just decided to stay. That is who is here illegally, and that's who this law targets. But for some reason, everybody is being all outraged about this, which is crazy. Here's like some of the rules, right? So now it's illegal to drive in the state of Florida if you're in the country illegally, even if you have a license from one of the 16 states that issue licenses to people that are here illegally. My state is one of those states. And then I went down a deep rabbit hole because I'm like, wait, if you can get a license when you're in a country illegally, can you get a CDL when you're in the country illegally? And then it turns out you can't. But what you could do is have a permanent resident or a green card, get your CDL, and then abscond, and boom, then you have your CDL. But that's one of the things that I wanted to look at. And I really didn't get to the bottom. I think I have to check the individual state laws, because you hear a lot of examples of people, like there was that Colorado truck driver, I think he was actually from Texas, that had a really, really hard time speaking English and reading English, and that's what they even said. And he didn't understand there were bad hills. He chewed through his brakes. His company was also a horrible company as well. But he ended up killing, I think, 7 people when his tractor trailer smashed into the back of another one and they all burst in flames. He ended up getting... Originally, he got something like 7 years in jail, which was incredibly too much time, for it, because he did try to avoid the accident, but there was another truck there, so he tried to, turn again and did it. But he deserved jail time, and he got jail time. The governor in the state of Colorado, I forgot what the term is, but he did all but like 2 years. So that guy is still in jail, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think he's still in jail. But he didn't speak English. He couldn't read English. He didn't read any of the signs, which is interesting, because how are you getting a CDL if you don't speak or read English? It's literally in our enforcement code. It's in the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations that you're not supposed to be able to take a CDL test. Actually, it's against the law to take a CDL test. You need to be able to, it can't be administered. The driving tests, the pre-trips, everything, based on the law, it's not supposed to be administered in any other language besides English. However, we just don't enforce those, things here. And just because we probably have some new viewers, I'm not someone that likes our immigration system. I think it's incredibly flawed, just like everybody else. But I believe you can't fix a leaky faucet by putting, tape over it. That's only a temporary solution. So what the Biden administration is doing right now is they're putting tape over it. You know why we're not hearing about a crap ton of people coming across the southern border now? It's because they're not doing it the way they were doing it 2 or 3 months ago. Now what they're doing is they're using an app and they're checking in when they're in Mexico and they're setting an appointment to come across and seek asylum. They press their time, then they present themselves at the border. They're processed and released onto the streets with a court date that is sometimes a year in the future, which is crazy. Larry, I did get your Cash App earlier today. Thank you so much. But John Kennedy, you need to set up a place on the truckers page, a place to advertise for drivers. I'm not going to do that. I am going to make like a truck market where people could sell their trucks and different, like a barter thing. But I'm not going to do a job posting because there's so many websites that already do that. So I don't want to get in the middle of that stuff. But I would like to make a marketplace where someone could sell a truck or something like that. And so I'm trying to, that's on the back end of what I'm trying to do. But yeah, it's really crazy. So this new law, they're calling it a controversial Florida law, which took effect Saturday, no longer recognizes driver's license issued to undocumented immigrants from other states, among other restrictions. It's part of a sweeping immigration bill signed by DeSantis back in May that is prompting many to leave the state, according to CBS News. The run-up to the new law has sparked protests by immigrant workers, from those in the tourism and hospitality industry to those who work in the fields. Hold on, I got to read a Cash App. That's what I'm doing. There's no comment. Thank you, Larry. You sent another Cash App. Thank you, dude. The run-up to the new law, the protests. And I wrote on Capacity today about a trucker protest, and then one of the bigger news outlets copied me. They do that a lot, and it's cool. I take it as a badge of salt. I can't wait till I have a breaking news story that hasn't been reported anywhere else. So they have to cite me because they hate doing that. But they have to. But there is supposed to be this grand transportation, all trucks were going to strike and not go into Florida. And it was supposed to be this big thing transpiring on Saturday. But just like every other trucking protest in the past couple of years, nothing materialized. I don't even know if any truck showed up, and certainly not on this weekend where a lot of trucks are staying at home. Any truck that is out there and willing to run is going to make a little bit of money. You know what I mean? Because we have Independence Day tomorrow. So a lot of people, a lot of drivers are trying to be home with their families. So, rates this week are going to be artificially inflated. But I didn't see any big news stories about a trucker protest or anything that took place, which I just think it's two parts. One, it's sad because as someone that loves the industry, the trucking industry, I think it's sad that truckers just can't get together and actually protest something with actual numbers, right? Political rally about being taught at schools, you'll have hundreds of people show up and hundreds of counter protesters. If you got some, fancy protest about some politician, you'll have hundreds of people show up. But you have one of the most crucial industries in America, the backbone of America, which is trucking. You have a huge industry and you can't people to get drivers to show up. And I understand why, right? I saw a really funny post on Twitter or on Facebook earlier in one of the trucking groups where someone was complaining about a rate, and it was $278 per mile. Keep in mind, okay, and this is just because I know it, but the national average rate for a trucker right now, in order to break even, including the cost of a driver, is $2.24. That's incredibly high. Just for anybody that doesn't know, $2.24, I think it's a 22% increase over last year. The last time I was really involved in freight a couple of years ago, it was $1.87. And that made national news in the trucking industries because that is really high. That means in order to break even when you're operating, you must be at $2.27 or whatever the hell it is now. $2.27 per mile. Now everybody got a little reprieve because I guess gas or diesel prices went down about 17 cents, I think it was, week over week. And they're down 80 cents from January, over $2 from 2 years ago. But again, when you look at where we are and you look at where the rates are, that when I was listening to Road Dog Trucking, when I was driving around doing stuff today, I actually was listening to someone from FTR Insights or whatever, and they were talking about how, because they're economists, so they understand the markets far better than I ever will. They understand a different aspect of the industry, right? They may not know what it's like to work in the industry, but they understand the all the fancy economic stuff. And he's like, listen, we're at that like bottom of a freight recession. They don't believe we're in a recession in the country, but they believe we're in the bottom of a freight recession. And he's like, the problem is we're just not seeing any of the signs that it's going to recover. Like normally this week or the week after, we're week 26 of the year. So this week is really when the market would show some indicators that it's going to start rising again, which it does every year, right? But they're not seeing indicators that it's going to rise up. And so they're thinking that it's going to be stagnant. And you may have a couple of cents per mile increase in the next couple of weeks in terms of freight rates. But largely, this is going to stay flat, which is going to cause so many, like, people don't understand. And I wish mainstream media cared just a little bit more about it, because if that happens, more and more countries, or more and more, sorry, I was watching something on the other screen, more and more companies are going to end up being forced to go belly up. You're going to have more and more small brokers that can't pay their bills because shippers are delaying payments. You're going to have more and more of these small mom and pop trucking operations that got set up last year when rates, or not even last year, really 2020, when rates, everybody was laid off from their jobs because of the pandemic. Everybody's like, holy shit, trucking's running. They're essential right now. I don't have to worry about logs. Oh shit, I'll start a trucking company. And they took all their retirements out. They went out and bought trucks at the peak of what trucks. Truck with 100,000 miles, you're still going to spend 160 grand on that truck. That truck isn't even worth 40, 50 grand now, especially with the miles. So it's really interesting, just the perception of the industry. Or it's interesting to me that not as many people, like mainstream media, isn't focusing on it, that a lot of people aren't talking about how that is an indicator of what Christmas is going to be like for everybody else, right? Because if freight rates are really low, that means we still have an inventory surplus in the United States of material and of trucks. That's why right now trucking rates are so low, because there's just too many damn trucks on the road. You know what I mean? Everyone's credit cards are maxed down, so buying freight is down. But it's also it's an overabundance of capacity. We have too many damn trucks on the road, because everyone and their brother, I guarantee every single person watching this right now knows someone that in the past couple of years was involved in transportation, whether it was a truck driver, whether they were doing local work as a contract driver, whatever. Pretty much everybody does. And that's a funny thing if you think about the industry and then realize that, yeah, you do know people that work in the industry or connected to it in some capacity, whether they work in a warehouse, whether they're a dispatcher, whether they're a diesel mechanic. You have someone that's involved in that industry, but yet it is one of the most overlooked industries in the world. Do you understand that they got to pass laws in some states so truckers can use the restroom? I'm not even joking about that. It's one of the craziest things. And during COVID, in the beginning of COVID, before all the riots and stuff started happening, I always talked about trucking, right? I had a show called Freight Broker Live. It's what I talked about 24/7. What's interesting about COVID, and it's something I never thought about, was when drivers got sick on the road. Like, we thought about testing. Like, I wrote a bunch of articles back then about getting tests and speaking to people and doing interviews, trying to get truck drivers, COVID tests in the locations, because a lot of the delivery locations weren't allowing drivers to even come into their lot. We're talking an open air gated lot. They weren't even allowing truck drivers to come in without any tests. But the problem was there were no tests available. So these drivers only get paid when that freight gets off their truck. So we as an organization at that time were trying our damnedest to try to get, drug tests, or not drug tests, the COVID tests put in truck stops, and hopefully for free. And then it was successful because the Department of Transportation put out a couple of million of those COVID tests all over the place, and we're just giving them to truck drivers because they needed them to be able to even offload. But it's really crazy. It's everything is just really weird. And back to the original statement, because I know I went on a rant there, but the fact that all these people are best off in the state of Florida, and all these truckers were planning to do a big protest and protest rates, they were literally calling no freight to or from Florida, like a boycott. And it didn't work, and it's not going to work. And for one, nobody wants to go to Florida. It's not produce season, so the rates that are coming out of there are going to be freaking horrible anyway. Nobody wants to go into there, and because it's hot as balls. So it's I don't know. It's sad because on that regard, like, remember the People's Convoy? I wasn't big on their messaging. The big convoy of trucks that went from California all the way to Jersey, or all the way here to Maryland and then back to California. I thought that was one of the coolest things. You guys may remember I jumped in my motorhome and we went out and stayed with them for 3 days at the racetracks there in Maryland. I met a bunch of you guys there as well. And I liked it because I didn't care about all the COVID stuff. I am personally someone that doesn't care about it. Didn't really believe it then. Didn't go out and get vaccinated because it was my choice and I had the freedom, and I'm self-employed. I have the freedom of making that my own determination on that. I had COVID twice. I got sick as a dog, but I'm still here, and but I don't like all the other I don't like COVID bashing, which is what was happening a lot then. People that would criticize people for wearing masks, or people that would criticize people for getting vaccinated when it's their choice, which doesn't make any sense. And I never understood. You could have genuine concern over the health implications that we now know are true when it comes to that. But other than that, I don't believe it's what it was. It was a lot of people trying to, insert their will into someone else's personal choices, which I disagree with in that regard, which is funny because the other big figurehead, portion of it, I disagree on the other side because a life is a life, if you know what I'm saying. So it's really weird, but that protest was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of, to see hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of trucks at that place. And they just kept coming. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And everyone's like, how come you're not covering the speeches? Because I didn't care about the speeches. I just wanted to be around so many people, all the trucks and all that stuff. And you had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of civilians, like people that weren't involved in the trucking industry, that came out there to see all the trucks. And I thought it was awesome. You know what I mean? I thought it was awesome. And it was like the one time in my life in 39 years, I know I look good, but 39 years of my life, it was the one time trucking came together, right? And I thought it was so cool. Like when they would drive under the overpasses and everyone's waving American flags and holding up signs saying, thank you, truckers. And the best part about it is because I drove all the way out to Pennsylvania, met them in my car, and then followed back. And we were on some of the overpasses and following the convoy and seeing all these people waiting on the overpasses hours ahead of time, waving at all the other drivers that aren't participating in the convoy, that were literally just doing their job, delivering freight like they do every single day. They were getting the recognition that they deserved. We just don't do it enough. You know what I mean? Because think about it, and everybody can do this. It's a really good litmus test for what is actually in, what trucking does. Look around your house right now. Just listen to the smooth, cooling, calming sound of my voice, and close your eye. Well, don't close your eyes because you got to look around. Just look around your house. If you're watching me on a TV, guess how that TV got there. If you're sitting in a house, guess how all the material got there. If you're eating a cheeseburger right now, guess how that product got there. Every single thing, everything in your house, in your home, the clothes you wear, the medical supplies you use, got there by a truck. And so the fact that we don't recognize that as like a whole society and understand that those people are probably the most crucial components of our everyday life, it's kind of fascinating to me. It's also sad, though. It's sad that other people don't recognize it and understand the importance of truck drivers. And that's the whole reason why I started Capacity today again. And personally, I'm getting burnt out with the politics. but I want to talk about the industry. I have a lot of people that watch me that know nothing about trucking and that may do it. And because here's the truth, the truck market is going to increase. The market is going to increase. You know what I mean? Eventually, it's not going to be this year, probably. It'll probably be in the spring when it normally rebounds around March and April because it dives in January, February. And if we don't have a bunch of bankruptcies by then, that's when we'll have them all. I think I heard some data today that said 31,000 trucking companies. That's everything from one truck to 100 or more trucks. 31,000 individual trucking companies or truck drivers quit this year so far. So far in the first half of the year, 30, I think it was over 30 trucking companies with over 100 trucks called it quits or were acquired for a fraction, because that's how bad the market is. And you're not really hearing it. You do have people like Craig Fuller and a lot of other people that are talking about the industry in that sense. And they're getting ridiculed for saying there's going to be a bloodbath and this and that. They do that because they see it. Like, those people are way smarter than me. They can look at a set of numbers and be able to forecast what's going to happen a year from now. And they're right. And people aren't focusing on that, which is pretty crazy. But anyway, for the second time, back to this story. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I'm talking about it, is because truck drivers can't get together. And then you look at what's happening with the Teamsters, with UPS, right? Apparently they're down sitting, trying to work out a deal with UPS, and they came close. And then you got Sean O'Brien, the Teamsters president, that's trying to be a tough guy. He annoys the shit out of me. I'll be honest, I'm not a big union guy, never really was a big union guy. I think unions do more to hurt their members than they do to help their members, in my personal belief. And that's across the board. And I was in a union, and so I know, and they fucking negotiated a contract for me when I was a firefighter. Guess what they negotiated my salary to when it equates to an hourly wage? $14.07. F unions. Okay. They negotiated a 27% raise for the police department, because I wasn't in the IAFF. We're in a different union. But yeah. My hourly wage as a recruit firefighter was $14.07 per hour. Granted, that's not how they carry it, because they do it on a salary basis, because that's how they get away with it. But yeah, $14.07 an hour to run into burning buildings. Insane. But yeah, so like you see with that, it seems like, okay, we do recognize the trucking industry, but then the stakeholders in the industry are doing everything they can to sabotage it, because like with Yellow, and we'll talk about Yellow in a second, because there's new shit coming out of there too. So long story short, Florida passed a law that made being illegal in America illegal again. So everyone should kind of applaud that law. And if we had a pathway to citizenship, and I know a lot of conservatives disagree with that premise, I believe we need a pathway to citizenship for the people that are here legally and are able to work and able to contribute to society. The people that are here illegally, that have no will, or they're criminals, or they don't have the want to actually be productive members of society, we should kick them out. And I know a lot of people disagree with it, and that's fine, because a lot of people believe we should kick everybody out and start anew. I'm not one of those people, because I believe this country has so much to offer. If we could just get our shit together, we should aspire to have other people aspire to come here. That should be the long-term goal of where we are as a country, because, I wouldn't want, even with as bad as it is here politically, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, any other country. I wouldn't want to be anywhere. Look at all the other countries. Look at France. They got riots going on for the 8th night in a row. You got Israel and Palestine bombing the shit out of each other. Russia, Ukraine, Russia just did an airstrike on Ukraine's CIA headquarters, which is going to cause a massive blow. So I can predict that the nuclear explosion is going to take place at that nuclear power plant within the next week. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You mark my words. Everybody mark your calendars right now. That Zaporizhzhia or whatever it is, the nuclear power plant in Ukraine, that they said they were worried about Russia doing a terrorist bombing. Now that the Ukrainian CIA building has been blown up, hit with missiles, that's going to happen. And you know it. Jeff said we do have a pathway, but those who enter legally are being ignored for criminal aliens. Yeah, and I agree. There is a pathway to citizenship here in the United States right now. We need a better one. It's, just to come here legally the right way, it takes months and months and months just to be able to come here and work or go to college or any months and months and months and months for that. And it costs tens of thousands of dollars. It's cheaper to pay a coyote $15,000 and have them smuggle you across the border, cheaper and faster. Why do you think people are doing it? If the pathway to get here was much easier and the financial burden was less, why? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't we want to do that? If we really, and that's the thing, that's how Democrats in Congress, they don't actually care about fixing the border crisis, and the conservatives either, because they would have put forth legislation that would have done that. They would have, simply put, they would have. Republicans as well. If you really want to secure the border, okay, then put legislation back that covers all those things. The truly American way to think about it is that we should do the best we can to be here. But that's me. Someone said, I think the ones who need to be kicked out and start over is Congress. Yeah, I agree. But someone said something about gas masks. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, this is interesting because this law in Florida puts it criminalizes being here illegally, right? And it basically says that any other state that issues a driver's license to an illegal immigrant, because there are 16 states across the United States that will currently do that Florida doesn't have an obligation to honor those licenses. And so now Florida has an obligation to not honor those licenses under their guidance. There's also other stipulations that I believe that need to be worked on a little bit more, but they're laws now. So the law also includes harsh penalties for those who try or hire or transport undocumented migrants, which critics say can include family members. I believe that's true, right? So here's an example, right? Say you have a U.S. citizen that's married to an illegal immigrant, right? He worked here, he's legal here in the United States, and his wife, he worked here for 10 years legally, got enough money. They couldn't get across the border because of COVID or whatever. He snuck her over in a boat, whatever. She's here illegally now. He's there with and he's here legally. The thing I don't like about this law, but part of me says, no, that's not even true, because she still broke the law getting here. Or if you're here, say you come on a permanent resident visa and you lose it, or green card or something like that, and you lose it, just like Curtis said. Because essentially this new law says if that husband is driving his wife and she's here illegally, the state of Florida can pick her up and arrest her for being illegal in the country, which you would think, I don't know. I think what it does is it pulls at my heartstrings, but then Law and Order trumps that, which sucks. You know what I mean? It sucks. But I think that's what happens. Like when I got ready to start saying it, I was like, that's wrong. It's wrong for them to do that. It's wrong for them to separate someone. But then at the same time, you break a law. Like if I go and commit a crime, or I drive drunk or something, the expectation I have as a grown-ass accountable person is that I'm going to go to jail, or I'm going to get arrested. I'm going to face the consequences to my actions. That's what should be happening to everybody. You know what I mean? And so it's sad, but you know how many times that happens? Florida is also, I don't think you're required to, I could be wrong about that, so I don't know. But Florida is one of those states where they have a lot of accidents with illegal immigrants that just run, or they have Humpties driving on the road that don't do inspections. There's all sorts of stuff that can go on. Someone said, I watched Judge Middleton in Michigan. He often says people in his court have to have a Michigan license, and they don't recognize foreign licenses for Michigan residents. Yeah. But I mean, Florida now put it in law, so it also requires hospitals that receive Medicaid funds to ask for a patient's immigration status, which is pretty awesome, if you ask me, because that's my money. Medicaid funds are my money, my taxpayer dollars. I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to help the illegal immigration into the United States. Now, there's a difference of people that are already here, right? Just me. And I know my views on immigration are probably quite a bit more liberal than most of you guys, and that's fine. But I firmly believe we have an obligation as Americans to help Americans first. And then once we've done that, which we haven't, but once we do that, we should also help our fellow man, right? That's just, what I believe, or woman, and regardless of citizenship. That's my belief, right? So I don't know. It's just suck. The whole thing sucks. It sucks that we have to pass a law to enforce the law, because that's essentially the easiest way you can put what's going on in Florida. We passed a law to enforce the law. We passed a state law to enforce the federal law, and everyone's up in arms about it. And so a lot of the illegal immigrants, the illegal farm workers and stuff that were in the state of Florida, they don't want to be there anymore. So now they're plotting to leave the state of Florida and go to other, sanctuary states and things like that, where they're not going to be penalized for being in the country illegally. And there's sad ones like Ophelia Aguilar. She's undocumented, but has children who are U.S. citizens, including an 8-year-old son. That's frightening to me, right? That's frightening to me, because if she gets caught and kicked out, her son is what? What happens to him? Does he have to leave? The whole thing just doesn't make a lot of sense when you try to think it rationally. And I don't know. It just sucks, because we shouldn't have to pass laws to enforce laws in this country. We should actually just enforce laws, because if we enforce the laws, people like Ophelia Aguilar and her 8-year-old son wouldn't be impacted by this law, because she would have been here legally. Do you know what I mean? So it's sad. It's sad. Erica King said, I don't understand how they keep telling us Medicare and Social Security is going to run out of money, but have money for healthcare for people that never paid into the system. Yeah, I mean, none of it really makes a hell of a lot of sense. None of it does, but the way we do things in this country is so batshit crazy. For example, there was a truck driver. This article is on capacitytoday.com. There's a truck driver in Van Buren Township in Michigan, that on Saturday, he was just behind a business, whatever, parked. He gets into a verbal argument with another trucker. That trucker shoots and kills him, right? They find this guy, the other trucker. They track him. His company gives him up where he was loading. They put him under surveillance. They arrest him. He was just named today. And I think his name was Mark Shaw, if I remember my article. I don't know. It was a while ago. But they arrested him, and he's been charged with first-degree murder and, possession of a firearm while in the commission of a felony, because they found the firearm with him. And then the state of Michigan, the judge gave him a $200,000 bail for shooting someone in the head. I don't understand. And I don't know if he's been bailed out or anything. I couldn't find his mug sheet or anything when I searched this morning, because I think that's when he was officially arraigned, so it probably wasn't in the system yet. But we have a serious problem in this country with with not upholding laws, right? So everyone's up in arms because Florida passed laws to uphold federal laws. And then you have other jurisdictions where people are going out and shooting someone in the head and getting a $200,000 bond. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense when you think about it. And those were both truck drivers. A 49-year-old truck driver from California is dead over a fight, over a verbal altercation. It's insane to me. And someone else, the 39-year-old Shaw driver, or Mark Shaw, or whatever his name was, that he was from Texas, and now his life's ruined as well. It's just really insane, dude. It's really insane that all this is happening all the time, but I don't know, man. There's not a lot we can do. Like, how many of you guys, you probably haven't followed it, but if you, like, here, for example, here's the link to Capacity Today. Everyone should go and subscribe to that. I don't send you emails all the time, but when you subscribe, if we have breaking news in the trucking industry, I'll send out emails. Or when I start doing Capacity Today, the show, first one's going to be tomorrow morning, probably, which is just going to be a news show talking about trucking related issues, several of these stories, but with less of the political opinion and just straight, news. But if you subscribe, and you could be a paying member if you really, want to support us. But even if you don't want to do that, just you click subscribe and do a free membership, and then you'll get all the notices. But if you're interested in learning the trucking industry for when we do rebound, I'm going to have a whole section of paid members, where, and I think it's $5 a month or $50 for the year. But I'm going to have a whole thing in there where it's going to be, and they're all going to be for paid members, starting a trucking company from scratch, filing for your numbers, everything from the very bottom to everything. And I'm going to do that, do that for brokering, do that for different aspects of the industry, and I don't want to necessarily charge for it, but that's it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, there was this article I published today. Sorry, I told you I'm tired today, so I'm dragging ass. There's this article that I published on Capacity today. It's that link I just put in the chat, where it says, on Monday, the Texas Department of Public Safety spokesperson released an insane video of a police chase on Highway 35 in LaSalle County after troopers attempted to pull over a bobtailing semi for a traffic violation. In the video, the truck driver, named Eduardo Aradas, I can't say any names. He's from Florida. He apparently ran from, he didn't, we saw it. He ran from the officers in a white bobtailing semi truck, at times running against traffic on the highway at speeds up to 85 miles an hour. The trucker ended up losing control of the truck and came to a stop in some thick brush. But when you watch the video, it's freaking insane because it shows the chase for a couple of minutes, right? And it's the video that the Texas DPS put out, so they chopped up stuff to make it under 2 minutes. And then they crash into thick brush. The doors open up. Guess what happens? This took place in Texas. Guess what happens? Over a dozen illegal immigrants, all military-age males, jump out of the truck and scatter into the woods. It's one of the most insane things. So this driver was arrested, and they captured 12 illegal immigrants as well. And, because they held them at gunpoint. You have a 33,000-pound tractor trailer, or tractor, because the trailer wasn't attached, running against traffic, running around. Can you imagine that truck hitting a car? It would vaporize the car. But with the speed it was going, 85 miles an hour, just flying with all those people inside too in the sleeper. It's insane. They arrested the driver and charged him with human smuggling and evading arrest because he tried to run out, the fat slob of the human being he is. He tried to run and hide in some bushes, but they quickly located him. And you can watch that video if you want on Capacity today as well. But the border is something that is really, I wish more people, I wish the media talked about it a bit more, because I don't even know. I don't watch Fox News now because they suck and they're just biased from the Republican side, not conservative, but I worry because I think Fox News is Republican, and there's a big difference between a conservative and a Republican. I'm a conservative. I'm not a Republican. Those people are just as bad as the crazy left-wing Democrats that are out there, because there's people like my wife that are Democrats, but they're not, I call her liberal and not Democrats, because Democrats are a whole nother freaking wave of crazy. You know what I mean? And I know some people may, align with Democrats, and I'm not trying to draw a divide or anything. We all need to work together to figure out what's going on in our country and how we're going to fix it, how we're going to start caring about our fellow man, because if we don't, we're so fucked. Just as a society, we are so effed. You know what I mean? We don't want to turn into one of these countries we watch on TV, like Russia or Ukraine or Israel or Palestine or any of that. We don't want to do that, in this country. I don't want to see riots happening, anything like that. Active shooter in Philly right now. Oh my God, bro. Male with a rifle and mask walking up Fraser. If you are in Philly, Tim, anyone else that lives close to Philly, seek shelter. There is an active shooter in Philly right now. Philly crime update said man in the area of 54th in Chester, Southwest Division on scene with multiple people shot and active shooting ongoing. That is breaking news right now in Philadelphia. Thank you, Ra. I just got a notification that is going on. I saw somewhere, so let me see if I can find more about that. That's another fucking shooting. Dude, there's just too many of these fucking things. This one said it was, I think, what I say, a man with a. There are early reports of active shooter situation in the King Gissington neighborhood of Pennsylvania. SWAT and AirTac is reported. Bum 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 bum. I'm trying to see. And that's it. I mean, this is like breaking right now. I mean, this is moments ago. So that's why we don't have a lot of information on this now. Someone on this one thread said they do have someone in custody. I don't know if that's true. But just another, I mean, this shit happens every fucking day here. You know, and most of the time it's a gangbanger shooting up other, people. Most of the time they're all minorities. Most of the time media doesn't. I talked about it last night. I'm not going to do it again. But most of the time nobody cares, and it'll die down and nobody will be talking about it. They'll talk about it now for a couple of minutes and then nobody will talk about it again. Erica said Kensington, that's a big drug area. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where there's a lot of crimes. I think I saw a video where people were carjacking people in broad daylight in that area too. Someone said head north. Where is north? I don't know. I would just head anywhere to the woods. Get to your nearest forest. If you can buy land, like now you can get high-speed internet with Starlink. Just go live out in the woods. That's if I had my way and we didn't have to like work for a living, that's what I would do. I'd just move my whole family into the woods because this is just crazy, dude. And it sucks. It sucks. Roz, if you're still listening, let me know if you hear any updates on that one. Because it's crazy. Male in custody, rifle recovered, male wearing body armor and bulletproof vest. Someone said, Philly crime update said, appears to be two shooters. Shooting is still going on. I wonder if there's scanners in Philly. Oh, God, I don't even want to do this, but I will. If you guys want me to cover this, send a super chat. How about that? Or not a super chat. Fuck YouTube. Send Cash App or Venmo. Links in your chat. What is it? Broadcastify? Are Philly scanners typically live? I don't know if I've ever listened to a scanner in Philly. Nah, they're definitely not. Because you got CSX Philly. I don't even know what that is. Delaware County. No, because there would be a shit ton of people listening. So yeah. Where are they hearing scanners? So, because a lot of people are asking right now, Tim, hold on. Let me text some of my peeps here. Wait a second. Where's my fucking text? Yeah. Yeah, let me just do it this way because I'm lazy. Don't want to type. Oh, wait. This. Hey, where'd you hear there's two shooters? High tech. Live breaking news. There's apparently an active shooter in Philadelphia right now. Someone's Philly crime update said white shirt, black pants, actively shooting. Someone else is commenting, male in custody, rifle recovered, male wearing body armor and bulletproof vest. They just called in 2058 Street, black male, ski mask with machine gun. So maybe he's already arrested. Okay, so apparently the suspect, actually, I don't want to report on that yet. We don't know. So who knows what it is, dude? Who knows what it is? This is why fuck, bro, we suck as a society, man. A machine gun is what is being reported. 8 people reportedly shot. Fuck. Philly crime update saying police update, at least 8 people shot. Four males driven by Jeep that pulled into an ER, all shot up. Jesus Christ, bro. This shit is nutty. This is nutty. And that one like largely probably won't even make national media. You know what I mean? That probably won't even make national media because that's Philly. People are dying in Philly every single day. Like literally every day, kids are dying in that city. And nobody cares. Nobody talks about it. It's horrible. Someone said, "Where are you getting this?" Because I'm fucking amazing, bro. They just said they can hear gunshots but can't hear where it's coming from. That is our Philly contact. CSX may be a train company or scanner. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Trying to see if there's any update. That's where am I getting this? I can't reveal my sources. No, it's on Twitter, bruh. Twitter. Everything is always on Twitter. Twitter breaks news before everybody else. Absolutely hectic situation in Southwest Philly. Philadelphia Police Department handling a very large scene with at least 8 people shot by one person. He was armed with a handgun, a rifle, extra magazines, and a bulletproof vest, and was shooting at people for several minutes. I will retweet this right now so people could see. There is a person in custody, and Southwest Philadelphia on scanner. What? That's not. Oh, well, yeah. He's probably not listening to me. But if you're not listening to a live fucking scanner and you're listening through the scanner today, you're not going to get actual information. I also want to welcome Denise. You became a new free member on Capacity today. And William. Hell yeah. Thank you guys for doing that. And that's just from going over to Capacity today and subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything. And if we have breaking news in the trucking and logistics industry, you can do that. I put the Citizen Stringer site on hold because I may be working on something. Like, how would you guys like if Adam, Rhino, and I did a show like twice a week just talking about politics and shit? Huh? Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Be very cool. Carolyn asked what I know about the white powder at the White House. Yeah, we already talked about that last night. It was crazy. They found white powder, cocaine in its raw form inside White House property. Now, I did see one news outlet reported that it was inside the West Wing. That is unconfirmed. What is confirmed is that it was found on White House property near the executive entrance to the West Wing. But that is what we know right now. So if anyone wants to support the stream, you could do so via Cash Apps or Venmo. We're still incredibly far away from our goal. So if you like the show, like there's a lot of you watching, if you like the show, just do $5 via Cash App or Venmo. It just helps me to do it. You can see you're not seeing ads on this video today on YouTube or anything like that. They don't even monetize my video half the time. It's like a crapshoot on whether we do it. So I just decided I'm not doing it anymore. I'll wait and let them process it and then apply for monetization after. Like, for example, my video last night talking about the white shit that was found at the White House. Guess what? They refused to monetize that one. And I could appeal it, but by then everybody stopped watching it, so it sucks. So what I ask people to do is, one, just go follow one of our social media pages, or secondly, just the link in the chat right there. Fox said it was more of an anesthetic liquid for earaches type thing. No, that's not true at all. That it's only got 2 FDA uses, and they're both for nasal. So, like, if you have nasal surgery, that's what they're for. They're heavy duty prescription drugs. They're prescription drugs. If it's even in liquid form, I don't believe it was in liquid form. I believe it was in powder form. And if it was in powder form, guess what? That's for sniffing it up your nose. Everybody is trying to get really particular about the name because they call it cocaine, whatever, the word that begins with an H, I forgot now. That is the raw form of cocaine. That's literally what it is. So, like, when you read a news briefing about a tractor trailer caught at the southern border with like 12 kilos of coke, guess what it references? That same drug. It's crazy. The whole thing is just crazy. Some said a hunter must have dropped it. Hydrochloride, cocaine hydrochloride. Is that what it is? I forgot. But yeah, I mean, everybody can look it up too. Like, if the media tells you something and it just doesn't pass your smell test, no pun intended when we're talking about cocaine, but if it doesn't pass your smell test, just look it up. So look up what cocaine hydrochloride is. Yeah, you can see their medical uses or as a nasal anesthesia, whatever. But the chances of that acquiring, because it's still cocaine, so it's heavily habit forming. So they don't prescribe it to like just anybody unless they want you to be a cokehead. Can you imagine? It's 4% diluted cocaine that you're snorting up your nose. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Victoria said Adam and Rhino cool as long as it's not full of foul language. No, it'd probably be like radio friendly. I talked to Scott last night because I'm down to do it. I know he's down to do it. We just got to get Adam to do it. I've been trying to get Adam to do it for a long time. But again, if you want to support this show, please do it. So far, we got Larry as a Cash App supporter. The link to do so is right there in your chat. He sent 2 Cash Apps. So super shout out to Larry. He did one halfway through the day today. He's probably watching my video from last night. And then he did one during the show. So I appreciate you, Larry. And I appreciate everyone who did it last night too. It looked like it was a lot more. Like, I was like, wait, they fucking stole my money. Because it looked like it was a lot more when it was coming through. But I think it was because it was all Fivers. But yeah. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Adam's a little conspiracy theory driven for him. Someone said, what does it further to Cash App? I don't know what that means. What does it further to Cash App? Someone said, Adam's a little conspiracy theory for me. Adam's good. He's passionate about it. Like, I told Adam that when we just talk to each other on the phone, because he's my friend, so I talk to him all the time. I said, John Taylor said, what does it further to Cash App? Talk me into it. I don't know what you're saying. If you're saying how do you do it, click that link, click the Cash App button and choose the amount you want to do. If you're trying to get me to like beg you, not fuck off. I'll just be honest. I'm not going to do that. You can support the show or not. If you like it, support it. If you don't. If you can't, don't. And then when I get to the point where I can't do this anymore, then I just won't do it. But for right now, you guys don't have to worry. I'm going to be doing this a lot. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. And I'm busy a lot of the time. Yeah, I know. Everyone's busy. At any rate, but that's going to do it for the show. Make sure, if you're not already, you do go follow our Capacity Today page. If you like transportation and logistics stuff, like freight news, trucking news, opinion, the link right there is in your chat. You can go, just bookmark the page or click the green button at the bottom that says subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything unless you want to become a paying member. We will have extra stuff on there that is for paying members. But I just started the website. Clearly, you can tell I've been writing a lot, but I have to write more and get more content on there. But I'm writing 2 or 3 articles a day for right now while trying to do my homework. So, just get out there, support the stream if you can, either by going there and becoming a $5 a month member, because I get that whole thing too, or do the link tree, which is in the description of this video, and I'll put it in the chat one last time. And the good part about the link tree is you could do it whenever you want. So you could send it now, you can watch this video later and send it, whatever you want, if you want. I get it all the time, and I'll try to give you all shout outs. All right, guys, I will see you. Someone said, are you not monetized? We're monetized on Facebook, I think, but we're not on YouTube. Well, we are monetized, but they won't monetize any of my individual videos, so it's not worth it. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you all watching. I'm going to bed. I'm feeling like tired today, so I'm just going to go to bed and relax. But I will be continuously packing coffee tomorrow, and then getting all these orders out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll have a Capacity Today show in the morning. It won't be live. It'll be uploaded. But all right, guys, see you later. Bye.